Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Britain is already a tyrannical state for entertainment purposes, of course. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys what the definition of a tyrannical government is. I'm going to tell you what a tyrannical state is. Then I'm going to make analogies of what's happening in the United Kingdom. And I'm just going to put it out there. Britain is already a tyrannical state. But remember, this video is for entertainment purposes. Britain, of course, we have fair elections, don't we? We have free and fair elections all the time. All those elections that we have that are fair. We don't have media suppression. We don't have blocking of opposition leaders. Of course, none of that happens. And of course, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing this video mainly because what I'm seeing right now in the United Kingdom is that slip into tyranny. I am, it's difficult not to see this with your eyes if, unless you've got them closed, unless you got your head in the sand. So the definition, I guess, of a tyrannical government so a few people ruling over the many, using force, using suppression, cancelling trial by jury, cancelling elections, removing any opposition to your power, i.e. Andy Burnham. Does that not seem a little bit weird to you guys, how the Labour government have stopped Andy Burnham standing? Does it not seem weird? Does it not seem wild? Does it not seem tyrannical? And all the time, we're marching slowly forwards. People really can't see. People really can't see what is there in front of them. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to start with this, guys. I'm going to give my opening monologue, and then I will jump over to the chat. But if you've not done so, ladies and gentlemen, and you're on and you like this content, and you know what? I know you like this content. Make sure you hit those buttons down below: the like, follow, subscribe, bell notification. I don't even know what they are down there because I only really stream on YouTube now. So while you're sat there, this morning or whatever time of day it is, and you're thinking, what is a tyrannical government? What's gone wrong? What's gone wrong in the United Kingdom? We've all heard fairy tales about tyrannical regimes far, far away, those dystopian nightmares where power-hungry overlords crush freedom under their jackboots. But by the very definition of tyranny, now look, guys, you guys go and search what the definition of a tyrannical, just literally put it into Google. What is the definition of a tyrannical government? Consolidation of absolute power in one ruler or faction. Does that seem like that's happened with the Labour Party? It does to me. Operating above the law, so the laws don't apply to the people in government. I don't know, maybe that's the thing. Suppressing opposition. Has Andy Burnham been suppressed? The Labour voters are furious. Can you look? And I wouldn't be a Labour voter, but I've got nothing against anybody who votes. Really, if your vote is true and you can argue why you want to vote that, and you don't just say, I vote Labour because my dad voted Labour. If you can articulate that, it's absolutely fine. But I've been seeing a lot of Labour voters online now. So look, guys, if you're not from the United Kingdom or you don't know what's happened, there's this guy. He's the mayor of Manchester. He was pitched to be one of the last. He was pitched to be a prime minister, maybe 8 years ago. He resigned from politics and he went back to Manchester, and he's the mayor of Manchester. He's decided to make a comeback to politics, and there's a lot of people saying he's going to challenge Keir Starmer for the leadership because there's nobody else in Labour now. There is nobody in Labour who has credibility. So Andy Burnham's come out, and one of the Labour MPs has stood aside, causing a by-election. Andy Burnham said, I want to stand in that by-election. Bear in mind, this is more or less like if Andy Burnham stood in that seat, that's more or less a guaranteed win for Labour, right? That's more or less guaranteed win for Labour. Right now, it looks like Labour have given that seat to Reform. So it'd be difficult to say that Labour are not suppressing opposition, wielding fear. I live in fear, guys. I do stuff online and I say things online, you know, and I'm genuinely worried about getting that knock at the door. Hey, Sean, you've said this, and me getting sent to the gulag. You've seen how many videos I get taken down. You see how many times I get, demonetized and videos taken down and banned. Wielding fear, propaganda. You guys seen the video I shared last night of Keir Starmer on TikTok? Fantastic. What a fantastic video. I was just like, that guy's a leader. Hashtag true leader. You know, they wield fear, propaganda, and total control. Britain isn't heading there. We've already arrived. If you don't believe me, let's peel back this funky curtain on so-called democracy, and let's see how it ticks every tyrannical box here in 2026 under Keir Starmer's Labour. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this video is for entertainment purposes. This is not to be taken literal. If you do see anything, so that's on you, okay? This is totally for entertainment purposes. So let's start with the absolute power and lawless rule. Power concentrated in one person or cabal. Remember the who used that word? Who used that word, cabal? Acting on whims rather than law. Look at Keir Starmer in his inner circle. They're not just governing, they're rewriting the rules to suit themselves. Take the judiciary. They've scrapped trial by jury for any crime with a sentence under 3 years, claiming it's to clear blockage. And every time I think about this, I think about Lucy Conley. Now, I know I always say Lucy Conley, and I always mention her because she's a good example, right? Everybody knows who Lucy Conley is. We also, in the United Kingdom, we also had a man. I mean, this took, like, honestly, like, we had a man sent to jail for shouting at a dog. I think he was if you shout at a dog, you're a dick. You are, unless like unless it's like in a training thing and you need to shout a command like, I don't know, Rex down, sit, oos. Then you do need to shout, but not in that context, right? He was shouting mean things to the dog. I know the dog couldn't understand it, but he was still a dick, right? You shouldn't do that. Absolutely not. And if I was there, I would have probably said something to him. I don't think he should get 20 months in jail for shouting at a dog, right? So can you imagine now? Trial by jury has been binned for anything with a sentence under 3 years. So I think that 3-year sentence is going to be or like 2 years, 2 years and 364 days or whatever. So what I think is going to happen now, going back to Lucy Conley, if Lucy Conley gets arrested for something else, like sharing a tweet or something, then what happens is they say, right, we find you, how do you plead? And she says, not guilty. He says, oh, okay, trial by jury. I can do it now. What? I can do it now. Yeah, I'll be the judge. Yep, guilty, 3 years. What? Hey, how do I oppose that? Oh, you can't. Trial by jury is an ancient right dating back to the Magna Carta, just tossed in the bin by David Lammy. Listen, at least it's somebody of high intellect. Tossed in the bin by David Lammy. So judges appointed by the state, remember, a lot of these judges are Fabians, guys. That's the reality. A lot of these judges are Fabians, Keir Starmer's gang. Judges appointed by the state can rubber stamp convictions without pesky citizens giving their opinion. Remember, laws are written by man. Laws are written by man. Just because it's, just because it's the law doesn't mean it's right. And I always give the example, and there's real examples now. I always give the example whereby if a law was passed where everybody's firstborn child had to be handed over to the government and you never see that child again, insert whatever you think's happening, that would be legal, but it wouldn't be right. So, and the laws contextual as well. It's contextual. It's lawless overreach. It's the executive trampling on independent justice to fast track an agenda, postponing local elections They've delayed polls in 29 councils across England under the guise of reorganisation. No vote for you this year, guys. No vote for you this year. Maybe next year. And as I understand it, quite a lot of those 29 councils, they had their elections postponed. I think it was last year as well. So what does this even mean now, ladies and gentlemen? What does this even mean? Are we going to get elections? Are we going to get to vote ever again? Delay, delay, delay. So no vote for you this May, guys, okay? If you're in one of those 29 councils across England, then there is no vote for you. Starmer's mob decides when you get your say. Consolidating control from Westminster while you sit powerless, while we sit powerless. And this all comes down to constitutions. We don't have a constitution in the United Kingdom. Then there's a suppression of opposition, banning, censoring, or destroying enemies. Anybody who could challenge your power. Enter Andy Burnham. And look, guys, I'm not a big fan of Andy Burnham. I'm not a big fan of Andy Burnham. But I do know he is well regarded in the Labour Party for those people who vote Labour, and I think Labour are over anyway. But the fact that they banned him, it should speak a lot. So Andy Burnham, the mayor of Manchester, this guy who's dared to criticise the party's direction, a rival to Starmer. What happened? The Labour NEC, with Starmer himself voting, blocks him from standing in the by-election. And just like that, poof, a popular figure, elected by the people, sidelined to protect the leader's throne. It's not democracy. That is not democracy. It's not. It's an absolute stitch-up, a blatant purge of internal opposition. And it's not isolated. It's not isolated. Remember how they cracked down on protests with new laws making it easier to arrest anyone waving a placard that offends the regime, political parties, the opposition. The opposition's been neutered, with independents and smaller voices drowned out by the two-party stranglehold. And I wouldn't count out the Conservatives, guys. I wouldn't count out the Conservatives just yet. Rule by fear and terror. The new National Police Service, dubbed the British FBI, is rolling out facial recognition technology everywhere, tracking your every movement. They'll be arresting people left, right, and centre. Secret. I'm getting secret police vibes. I'm getting secret police. I'm getting Starmer's secret police. That's what I think this is going to be. Starmer's secret police who answer to no one. Maybe they'll be walking around in like jackboot uniforms and stuff. I don't know. Listen, if they've got sweet uniforms, I might ask to join. I might have to join. If they come out and they've got like stormtrooper outfits, like sweet stormtrooper outfits, I'll be like, damn, I've got to get me one of those outfits. Licenses to practice for every police officer, turning police into a profession where you can be delicensed and sacked at the press of a button. Dispersal orders, stop and search, roundup, all to instill fear. Can you remember when, and protests as well, right, I'm just thinking of this now. Can you remember Chasse Minute? Can you remember how I think the laws changed where you're allowed to protest, but you're not allowed to protest outside the place that you want to protest. So, for example, I'm just thinking something wild. Say that there's like, I don't know, a hotel or an army barracks or something that you want to protest outside. The government are saying, oh yeah, you're still allowed to peacefully protest, but you're just not allowed to protest there. You've got to protest like 30 miles away in a random field. What? It feels to me like we have totalitarian control over public life, private life, and the state dictates what you can see online. They decide what's hate speech. They decide, laws that freeze free expression, monitor your kids' education with mandated curricula, pushing government narratives, even poke into your private chat for surveillance, Bill. Do you know that now? Like all the look, and I've got nothing to hide. I've really not. I honestly, like I've been hacked before by the government, and I've got nothing to hide. I really don't. I've had the same number on my phone for like, Jesus, maybe over 20 years. And the places I've been, the places my number will have pinged up. It was some fantastic places. I've got absolutely nothing to hide. And if somebody asked me, like the government said to me, Sean, can we search your phone? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I would. I've got nothing to hide. But I wouldn't mind it, because I understand that, I understand how these things work. I've been there. I still don't think it's right. I don't want them to look through my kids. I don't want them to look through my kids' phone. I think search through me all you want. Leave my kids haven't got anything. What are they talking about? Little WhatsApp messages between each other or whatever. There's just something so wrong about it. There's just something so wrong about it. But yeah, we get our private messages can now be read by the state. Corruption of self-interest, officials blurring state and private lines, MPs with second jobs, propaganda and disinformation, state-controlled BBC. Listen, and I know I share the BBC. I do. I know I share the BBC. And I get a lot of stuff from you guys. As soon as I share a BBC article, I get, oh, sure, what I know, right? Look, can anyone, like, look, the BBC are getting sued for like $10 billion for misinformation, right? Like, how? Like, how can they be, like, how can they not be pushing out disinformation? But the reason I share the BBC is if there's an article I want to share with you guys, and I want to be quite vanilla on it, and then I want to give my own speculation and analysis on that article. The article, I won't get into trouble, because like last night's video when I talked about the penguin, yeah, that video got restricted. That video got restricted last night. So yeah. Anyway, but the reason I share these things, you have to go by the by the rules of the platforms. Military interference, do we think it's there yet? I don't know. I don't know where I stand with the military, guys. Military interference would be an absolute, military interference. I don't think it's there. I don't think it's going to be there. I think the military are on the side of the people, because they are the people. Subversion of institutions. This is another trait of a tyrannical government. What do we think, guys? Do we think institutions have been infiltrated by subversive leftists? The judiciary system, well, I mean, they're banning trial by jury, so I guess that's a tick. Media, do you feel the media? What do you think the media are doing? Do you think the media are being independent? Academia, we've already seen, academia suppressed. I mean, what's that guy? The pound shop Jack Sparrow. What's his name? Is he from Oxford? Like, is that academia now? I don't want to send my kids to that school. I don't. This is a wake-up call. This is an absolute wake-up call for Britain. This isn't a slippery slope anymore. We got on that slippery slope in 2016, and we have been slipping down it ever since. And, we're almost at the bottom. I don't know how far we can go down, but I do think things are going to get a lot worse before they even remotely look like they are going to get better. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on and you've not done so, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me jump on and get the chat. Is everyone behaving? I hope everyone's behaving. Is everyone behaving? It looks like, well, Kev Mills is saying, we have been taken from inside through education, health, media. Yeah, exactly, Kev Mills. Exactly. That's part of subversion. We've been subverted a long time. Right, let me jump up and get some comments. Good morning, everyone. Priv Caro is saying, it's really wild to hear that you have a jury that's by everyday people. I would not want that. No, it was like that. Like what has a judge that gives sentences, but also a jury that's law-trained people. Okay, so a trial by your peers. Okay, a trial by your peers. So the thing is, if you let me go back to Lucy Conley, because I don't mean to keep going back to her. If she's watching, hi Lucy. She was sent to prison, right, for a tweet that she deleted. I don't know how many people it was seen by. Regardless, if right now, if the same scenario happened and she said, no, I don't think I'm guilty. I don't think I did anything guilty. I don't think I did anything wrong. Then the government would have normally said, right, okay, you're going to go to trial, and then there's going to be, I think, is it 6 or 12? I don't know if it's 6. Is it 6 or 12? I think it's 12. Is it 12? It's 12 people, isn't it? Yeah. And then there's 12 people who will sit on a jury, 12 ordinary people, and they will decide whether that is right or wrong. So here in the UK, and that's how I feel the law should be, because that is a perfect representation. The law is from the people. The people decide what laws they want. The people decide what laws they want. Whereas if you start having legally trained people in there and legally trained, and judges, they could have all been subverted, right? They could have all been bought off. They could have all been paid. The essence of having 12 random people who don't know each other, that is, normal people. Is that person guilty? Yes or no? No, that person's not guilty. There you go. Stephen Tuendaya was saying the Austrian painter's uniform was made by Hugo Boss. Listen, I'm not going to lie. Listen, right, I'm going to put it out there, right? If Keir Starmer comes out and he's got some sort of secret police, right, and they have sweet uniforms, I don't know, guys. If guys are cruising around with like sweet uniforms, I don't know. It's going to be a massive low to me. Danny Walker's just become a member. Thank you so much, Danny Walker, and all the members. Listen, for all you members and people who are sending supers, you know what you guys are doing? You're helping me repair my roof, because I've got a massive leaky roof. And that's not a euphemism. I've got a leaky roof. It's the flat bit there. So my roof is pitched on my extension that I've got now. So I made a pitched roof, and then I had a flat bit because, like, there, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have an observatory with a telescope in it. I just ran out of money. So I put it's just leaking, basically. But thank you, Danny Walker, for becoming a member. Kev Mills is saying West Sussex here, starting up free self-defense and danger awareness for the community. It's a base to start from. Throw a safety net over your community. Well done, Kev Mills. Well done, Kev Mills. Priv Caro is saying we can appeal our sentences and it will move up to another court with another judge and whatsoever. It's not really set in stone. Well, look, everybody's got their different legal systems. You know what I heard yesterday? Give me a second, because I heard, right, in Cambodia, right, for 10,000... Hang on, let me check this out. Hang on, let me check this out. Hang on. All right, okay. Right, okay. I'm not going to repeat that. Because that was wild. Somebody was winding me up. Right, okay. Somebody was winding me up. Somebody told me the other night that for 10,000... Right, okay. I will read it, right? I was watching a video yesterday, right? And somebody said on that video that for $10,000 in Cambodia, you could be part of the judiciary system right at the end. You know, when you execute a sentence, but you could do it with a rocket launcher. And I was like, not a chance. But no, you can't. That's total fake news. Sometimes, why do I even entertain these things? I was like, oh, well, Cambodia, that sounds legit. I know some wild things happen in Cambodia. Craig Mawson is saying, Sean, I think that reform are the new Tories. It's the whole system that's broken, guys. It's the whole system. Cindy is saying, oh, that would be... Hang on. Right, I don't know what that... Cindy, I don't know what that's in response to. Oh, that would be excellent, especially with all the unusual space activity and drones. I don't know what that... I don't know what that's in response to. We knew you wasn't allowed in there, Sean. Roof department. What's going... I don't know what you guys are talking about, honestly. I don't know what you guys are talking... I think have I missed something here? I don't even know if I've missed something. Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on, we are talking about, for entertainment purposes, of course, we are talking... Now, I am putting it to you that Britain is already a tyrannical state. And I give to you guys... You know what? Let me just ask, let's just go for AI, right? Let's just go for AI, right? Okay, right. So if you put into, right, I've just literally Googled this, right? Traits of a tyrannical government, right? And I'm going to share this with you. Let me share this with you. Trait of a tyrannical government. So if you guys are thinking, you know, what is a tyrannical government? Well, this is what AI is telling me, right? So I'm just going to read this. I don't know if you guys can read that. Can I make that screen bigger so it's just whatever? We'll just leave it as it is, and I'll read it off the top. Okay. So, traits of a tyrannical government, and there's the link for it there. So AI is saying a tyrannical government is characterized by the consolidation of power, of absolute power in a single ruler or faction. I would say that's a tick, right? Because the amount of people that voted and want Keir Starmer in charge, I would say is very small. Operating above the law to serve private interests rather than the public good. Now, I can only speculate, right? I can only speculate on that because we've seen that Rupert Lowe released huge contracts that are being given by the government to fund migrants coming into the United Kingdom. I'm talking about hundreds of millions. Where's that money going? Who are those people? Where are those donors coming from? I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing, guys, okay? Here's where it gets tasty, all right? So a key trait of a tyrannical government includes the suppression of political opposition. Boom! Andy Burnham. 101. Andy Burnham, guys, okay? Absolutely. What the Labour Party have done to, and I'm not a Labour guy, you know, I don't really think he's a great, I don't think he'd be great, but you know, it doesn't really matter because he's been suppressed. Total control over public and private life. It does seem like that's getting closer and closer with, you know, digital ID, people being able to watch your mobile phone, check your messages. Systematic use of fear and propaganda. Well, we know the BBC is the BBC. We know the BBC's been caught out using propaganda against DJT. Systematic use of fear. Like, people are scared. People are genuinely scared to post things online, which is, as far as I'm concerned, a use of fear. And then you've got these things, absolute power and lawless rule, suppression of opposition. So I would say absolute power, tick, lawless rule. Well, if you don't have trial by jury, I don't know. That seems like laws are being eroded. Suppression of opposition, we know that's a tick. Rule by fear and terror. I wouldn't say terror's there. But this description here leaves rule by fear and terror. The regime relies on violence, secret police, or arbitrary imprisonment to remain control. So the regime relies on violence. Have you seen how the police deal with nanans protesting sexual offenders in hotels, to opposed to how the police deal with these guys? Bum, 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 bum. Have you seen the difference? You seen the difference how the police deals with it? And secret police. Listen, I'm calling it now. I think this new Britain's FBI is going to be Starmer's secret police. And then we've got arbitrary imprisonment. Absolutely, that's been happening. Totalitarian control. The state controls, but yeah, we've done that one. Targeted enemies. And like, you know, the only thing that I don't think they tick at some level is military interference. And I don't think they're ever going to take that. I don't think they're ever going to take that, because the way the British military, and this is why, you know what, I'm just thinking about this now in real time. The way the British military is set up, it's set up where if you're a private soldier, right, you don't work for Keir Starmer, you don't work for the, well, I guess not the Queen, the King. You work for your section commander, right? And if you're a section commander, you don't work for, you know, your section commander works for your platoon commander. Your platoon commander works for the company commander. The company commander works for the battalion commander. The battalion commander works for brigade commander. So that, when you've got that hierarchy, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to it's difficult, and it's also easier to get them to do what you want. Basically, if that commanding officer says no, Keir Starmer, a great example of this is in Pristina in 1999. For those of you guys can remember Pristina in 1999, 5 Airborne Brigade. Was it 5 Airborne Brigade? I think it was 5 Airborne Brigade. Went into Pristina Airport. There was General, I think he was General, or he was might have been a colonel at that point. Jackson. You guys can Google this. The Russians made a grasp for Pristina Airport. The British military were told to go take Pristina Airport by force. You probably won't be. I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to find this on the internet. I mean, what I'm telling you now is first-hand experience, right? You may be able to find this. You may be able to find this on the internet. I don't know. So the Russians basically took Pristina Airport. I think it was 5 Airborne, and they had tanks and armor and everything. 5 Airborne Brigade were outside, and the British military said, right, go and take back Pristina Airport by force. That's what the politician said. General Jackson, at the time, he got back on the radio, well, maybe radio, whatever they were using to communicate, and he said, no, I'm not starting World War III for anyone. So, you know, in that context, the military does have that autonomy, and the military can do their own shit. Have I just gone on a total side quest? I don't know where the migrants are going, but I have a backyard full of crazy Scotsmen. I don't know what's going on. There's a new English language way of speaking online, code words. Oh, I don't know. I don't really know these code words. Listen, I had to sometimes you guys are telling me things and I have to Google them, and I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. Like, what is it you was telling me? Something about Tony Blair before he changed his name or something. I don't know. Rupert Lowe said he would go back to reform policy. To reform, policies are good, but I must be the leader. I think Rupert Lowe is great, guys. I do. I think Rupert Lowe is great. Great. Templar Matt is saying, right, I will. All right, we can't do anything basically. Matt, so Templar Matt is asking, ask AI what we can do against it. I think you should put legally do there as well. Ask AI what we can do against a tyrannical government if voting and writing to your MP doesn't work, please. I'm going to tell you what I think AI will say before I've done it. I think AI will say peaceful protest. Well, that's all you've got, really, isn't it? Peaceful protests. That's it. Peaceful protests. Right. I'll ask it now. Let me ask AI now. Right. Oh, it's thinking. It's thinking. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Right, I'll share this with you, okay? I'll share this with you. It's nothing, basically. It's absolutely nothing. So Matt is asking what you can do, legally, of course, against a tyrannical government if voting and writing to your MP stops. So I'll share this with you guys now. I've not read it. What can I do to oppose a tyrannical government? In the UK, when the standard democratic channels, such as voting or contacting an MP, appear ineffective, there are several alternative legal and civic avenues for opposing a government. As of early 2026, 1, direct legal challenges. I mean, honestly, good luck. Judicial review, you can challenge the lawfulness of the government's decision or policy in the High Court. Recent examples include Reform UK launching a legal challenge against the government plans to postpone local elections. So unless you've got that sort of clout, not a chance. Good luck. Election petitions. If you believe an election was not run properly or a candidate broke the law, you can formally challenge the result through an election petition. What if the elections are being cancelled? 2, public protest and demonstration. So the right to public protest, yeah, but we already know that the right to the right to public protest, it's not being removed, but you're not allowed to protest. And this is at the police's discretion, obviously. But if there's a certain thing you want to protest, say I don't know, I'm just thinking of something random here. Say it's like a certain building in a town centre or whatever, and you want to protest something that's going on in that building. The police can say to you, right, you're allowed to have your protest, but you've got to go like right over there, so you're nowhere near the building you want to protest. So they're still giving you the right to protest while also taking away the right to protest. Broadening your political pressure. Get a petition. Community. It's ridiculous. There's nothing, right? There's nothing. Absolutely nothing you can do. Nothing you can do except buckle your shoe. Right, I'm just going to jump down, guys. Sean, I think that the only way is to be a national strike. Craig, I agree with you 100%. And I said this like maybe 2 years ago. I said this. What everybody needs to do together, right? And I know there was some, and I know there was some. I don't know how this would work, right? But I don't know if this is feasible. Some people were in the chat were saying it's not feasible because X, Y, and Z. What I said was everybody, like across the board, everybody in the world, in the UK, needs to quit their jobs, right, and claim unemployment welfare, right? That's what I said everybody needs to do. En masse, the whole of the United Kingdom, everybody. You bring the country to the knees and just say, yeah, we're not working anymore. We're all going to claim free money. The problem is not everybody will. You know, they'll be, you know, because people are greedy, right? People are greedy. People think, oh, right, if everybody else is going on strike, I might get promotion. You know, it just won't happen. You know, I'd love to think it would, and you're right, it should, but it, you know, unfortunately, being realistic, you know, Debbie Doobs is saying the text same as well. We need to down tools and stop the economy. Yeah, Deb, you're all right, but the reality is people just won't do it because it's one of those things. If not everybody does it, it's pointless, right? You know, if I just go, I'm sick of this government. I'm not paying my taxes. Right? Okay, well done, Sean. You know. Band again is saying Trump was right about stupid. Hold on. The energy prices are killing us. They really are. I've got, so for those of you guys who've been watching, I've made I can talk about it on here. I've made some beer, right? And the temperatures it's like when you're fermenting beer, right? You need to keep it I don't know, look, this is real world experience. When it will say something else on the package, I don't know. But in my experience, when I'm fermenting beer, if that beer drops below 15%, 15 degrees in the fermenter, you start to get off flavors on it. So I've got an electric heater in there. Honestly, when I turn that electric heater on, I've got one of these smart meters now. Honestly, that thing is just going woo, 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 woo. It's terrifying. The energy cost is absolutely, like, cost of energy in the United Kingdom is ridiculous. Timskate is saying strikes don't work. Remember the miners' strike for a year? Hard times, no food, money, still close the mines. Yeah, strikes don't work, guys. They absolutely don't work. It's crazy. Anglo Machiavelli is saying people too busy trying to pay for holidays to Spain and buy labus. I don't know what labubus is. Labubus? I don't know what labubus is, mate. But you're absolutely right. People are too worried, you know, and then they're seeing, you know, and they're seeing their, you know, that things are. Because things are getting worse slowly but slowly. It's like, you know, the straw that broke the donkey's back. Oh, I can keep going. I can keep going. I can keep going. But eventually you will break. The slave to the mortgage will always comply. Yep, guilty. Guilty slave to the mortgage. I'll always comply. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Slave to the mortgage, slave to the rent, slave to your roof over your head. That's right. You're right. You know, we have enslaved ourselves, financially enslaved ourselves. El Cid Barrett is saying, God save the king. I don't know how many people will, I don't know how many people are the same as that, but okay. Sean bans many of my terms. I don't ban anybody's terms. What terms am I banning? I'm not banning anybody's terms. Whose terms am I banning? Oh, D-Marie Gen X is sending some little leprechauns to fix your leaky roof, Sean. Thank you so much for the super, D-Marie. Thank you so much for the super, D-Marie. Listen, do you know what? In the summer, I'll do it as a whole I'll do my roof repair as a whole thing, right? I'll do it as a separate little video library diary thing, because it's gonna be a fair job. I'm gonna have to take the whole thing off. Where the flat bit on the roof is, I'm gonna have to build a pitch. I'm then going to have to I'm then going to have to clean it all down. I'm then going to have to decide how I'm going to waterproof the roof. I can either use some sort of resin, a membrane. I can either use metal sheeting, probably not slates. I can use fiberglass. I'm then going to have to do the whole thing, and it will be a big job. But in the summer, I'll do it for you guys. I'll do it for you guys. I'll be up there doing some real roofing work like a real man. But thank you, D-Marie Gen X, for the super. I really appreciate it. Cheryl Hepplestone is saying, I watched your video. Cheryl Hepplestone is saying, I watched your video on making the vodka, Sean, and mine is doing well. Right. I don't listen. So the other day I did a video and I don't know how it's going to go. I honestly don't know how it's going to go. And we made, well, I think we made for the members, and it's a members only video. We did, was it 20 liters? No, 5 liters of Swedish vodka. Now, I don't know what the percentage of that vodka is going to be. But what I'll do is I will test that on Wednesday. So this Wednesday, I'll do another members only video, and I will test that and I'll see what alcohol content is in that. Now, the maximum alcohol content would be, I think, 17%. So if you think for £2, potentially, and I don't know if this is going to be the case yet, guys. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to be the case. I think that's where you're going to, it may be where you're going to be. I don't know. I've never done this before. I wanted to keep the price really, really I wanted to get the bare minimum price on making it. Templar Matt is saying it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to go to heaven. Really? People are too greedy and won't support what is right. I don't think it's the rich people. I think it's people who are struggling. They're the people who are not going to do this. Can you imagine if you are, like most people are, trying to impress your neighbors, right? Buying things you don't need. You've probably got a car on finance that you don't really need. And you're constantly, and a lot of that stuff's on finance. A lot of that stuff's from the bank. They're the people who are the biggest, they're the people who are the real slaves. And I feel TV and media has enslaved a lot of people, because the TV and the media says you need to go on holiday twice a year. The TV and media says you need to buy the latest electric car and the latest and greatest. And, you need to buy the most expensive clothes or you're not happy. And the reality is none of those things make you happy. Craig is saying, if the only way to get things done without being banged up like Lucy, Sean, it's the okay, yeah. So Craig, I agree with you, mate. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, right? We are talking now about. Let me just give a quick recap, okay? Because I'm conscious we're not slipping, we're not going on a side quest, but I want everybody to understand what we're talking about here. So if you're joining for the first time, I've been talking about how Britain is, all for entertainment purposes, of course, how Britain could already be, how Britain is already a tyrannical state and things will get a lot worse. Now, what I've been setting out to you guys is the traits, and these are from AI, so I'm not saying these, this is what AI is saying. The traits of a tyrannical government. Some of them are absolute control of power, suppression of opposition, control of the judiciary system, constant surveillance, and these are all things that are here in the United Kingdom right now. Not cancelling, remember, we don't cancel elections in the United Kingdom, we postpone them. So these are all things that are traits of a tyrannical government. And, as we go further on, more and more elections get cancelled, get postponed, delayed. It's going to be very difficult to say that we are not in a tyrannical government. Now, one of the things that's been on the chat is people need to down tools and there needs to be a national strike. And I agree 100%. What I'm saying is that's not going to happen because people are too selfish. People are too greedy. People, if everybody else goes on strike, I'll be fine. And that is the reality of people. So when Craig Mawson here, is it Craig or Crag? Crag Mawson? Is it Crag or Craig? So when I think, I'm gonna say Crag. I hope it's Crag. Crag Mawson is saying it's the only way to get things done without being banged up like Lucy Connolly. I agree. That's not going to happen. So things will get worse and worse and worse until that catastrophic kaboom. Until that catastrophic kaboom. Okay, so Bandagain is saying, Sean, UK law on making spirits, right? Okay, so just so everybody knows, Swedish vodka is not a spirit. It's a high strength wine, basically. It's a high strength wine. So it's not a spirit. Okay, so just so everybody knows, Swedish vodka is not it's not a spirit. It's a high strength wine. Go and Google what Swedish vodka is. Right. In fact, actually, I've got some vid. Do you know what? Yesterday when I was yesterday, I got my the video I did yesterday about white men, how white men are the penguin, be the penguin, embrace the penguin. I got that video restricted because so I think I'm gonna have to do that again shortly. So but just the opening monologue of that, because I shared a few things on that and I probably shouldn't have, and I got the video removed. But it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Right, hang on. Right, so let me get this up now. So breaking news from 4 minutes ago, right? So 4 minutes ago from the 4 minutes ago from the BBC. Let's see this. So Keir Starmer's made a statement with regards to blocking Andy Burnham. And if you guys understand what's happening here, we have got a situation where the government of the United Kingdom are blocking political opposition. And it is the BBC. It is what it is. Starmer defends blocking Burnham from by-election as May says he's focusing on Manchester. Okay. Prime Minister is facing here, guys. Honestly, this is so wild. So, Labour figures remain divided over decision. A recap of what? Hang on, is that? Right, I'm not gonna. Right, I'll just read the recap. The Prime Minister is facing a backlash from some Labour MPs following the decision by the party's National Executive Committee to prevent Andy Burnham from standing in the by-election. The only reason you would, they have pretty much given that seat now to Reform. So Keir Starmer, right? And because Keir Starmer voted on this as well. Keir Starmer voted to block him. So what they've done, basically, they've given that seat now to Reform. They've literally given that seat to Reform. That's how bad things are. Keir Starmer, rather than see a political opposition, a challenge to his premiership, he's given that seat to Reform. There you go, guys. There you go. And you tell me this is not a tyrannical government? It is absolutely wild when you think about it. And I think everybody wants this 100-man march, 100,000-man march, 1,000,000-man march, a million men marching into Westminster. It's not going to happen. It's a slow, it's a slow descend. It is. It's a slow descend. Templar Matt is saying, I'm 100% debt-free. I own nothing. I own nothing and I'm happy. Matt saying, I'm 100% debt-free. I own no one, anything, nothing. And I've still got a good life and a smile on my face. I've never understand the whole materialistic going abroad for holiday. Every day is a blessing. You see, I've worked away. I've worked overseas most of my life. So, I've worked overseas most of my life, so I don't really going away on holiday. For me, it's just a faff. I just want to sit at home. I do. I just want to sit at home. Sean, it's Craig. I got hacked by my daughter. Has to do another email, and she's got missed the eye. Okay, right. Right, I'm just jumping down and looking at the comments, guys. Yeah, Debbie, listen, Debbie Doobs says, listen, Debbie Doobs has perfectly articulated this in one sentence. Starmer is scared Burnham coming for him. That's exactly what it was, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know any other reason. Like, if you're there, right, and your party is absolutely tanking in the polls, right? Your party, just imagine it, right? You're the political. I don't think there's a better. I can't think of a better analogy. Off the cuff, anyway. Imagine you're sitting there as Keir Starmer, right? And you have he's got to be aware of the polls, right? He's got to be aware that he's the most unpopular. I mean, he's less popular than Maduro, right? Oh God. You know that, right? That Keir Starmer is less popular than Maduro in Venezuela. Anyway, look, whatever. So he's got to be aware of the polls, right? He's got to be aware that they're going to be losing seats, and they need to keep as many seats as possible, right? He's got to be aware of that. Andy Burnham standing in that by-election was a pretty much, a given for Labour. They would have kept that seat. That would have been a good Labour seat, strong Labour seat. They've kept that seat. Now, Andy Burnham's not allowed to stand in that election. So who's going to be the Labour candidate they put in there? I don't know. So what they've basically done is given that seat. They've basically given that seat to Reform. So rather than Keir Starmer have another strong member of Parliament that could potentially challenge him, he's given that seat potentially to Reform. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. It's an 8 ball. It's not that accurate. Will Reform win the by-election that Andy Burnham was supposed to be standing in? Indications say yes, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, it is the 8 ball. It's not that accurate, but indications do say yes, that Andy Burnham, that the Reform will take that seat. Sherry Heppelstone is saying Starmer is definitely 100% scared to the dilly-dee of Andy Burnham coming for him, but why have they banned him? Well, this is what a totalitarian government does, right? They ban anybody that could oppose anybody that could oppose them. Putin did the same. Literally, Putin did the same in the early 90s. Putin did the exact same in the early 90s. He went around removing anybody who could stand against him, any political opposition. He went around removing them. And then Putin was in charge. And that looks like what Keir Starmer's doing right now. What are you shaking? My 8 ball. I'm shaking my 8 ball. Mine 8 balling. Roxanne is saying Trump was at... What a beautiful thumbnail, Roxanne. What a fantastic thumbnail. That's a beautiful thumbnail. Are they like little hamsters or something? Little hamsters? I don't know. Roxanne 241 is saying Trump was at Davos too, though, so I don't think it means anything. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Yeah, Trump was at Davos and he was throwing out some right truth bombs. Trump was dropping the truth bombs, was Trump. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this, not short, but I am going to close it a little bit shorter. Now, because the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to jump straight back on and I'm going to do another live stream like straight away, because last night I did a live stream last night, like my normal time. Listen, guys, if you're joining for the first time, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff. I'm on every morning at 10, every evening at 8. Last night, I did a live stream and I was talking about how, you know, this penguin meme, the lone penguin who just walks off onto his own. He doesn't go, he's like, yeah, I've seen the food over there. I don't want that. I don't want to go back to the crowd. I'm going out there. I'm following those mountains. And like, it's such a powerful meme. I shared this, and what I did in that live stream is I said how that is for a, I said, white men, you are the penguin. And I said, because we don't have any, because the world has been mapped already, because the world has been mapped already, and because the world's been mapped already, there's no more lands to explore. There's no more horizons. But anyway, the video got restricted, and it's been restricted. So I am going to do that video again, and I will come back on in like a couple of minutes straight on after this. The old Bassett is saying word salad. I don't know what a word salad is. I don't know what a word salad is. I feel like I don't know. I don't know if you're referring to me. I don't know if you're referring to me. If it's a word salad, what's a word? Do you mean a world salad? I don't know what that means. Anyway, you're gonna have to give context. Band again, he's saying 10,000. Listen, guys, some people, I don't know how it works with the ads. Honestly, I've no idea how it works with the ads. I can't apologize because I don't know how it works. When you do a live stream, you don't I don't have any say on where the ads go or what happens. And I mean, Debbie Doobs is saying, I don't get ads on Sean's live. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how it works, guys. Right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic as always. You've been fantastic. I'm going to go and get a coffee. I'm going to come straight back on, and I'm going to talk about how young white men in general, you are the penguin, because the video got banned yesterday. It got taken down. So I'm just going to do a shorter monologue, and then I'll close that video down as well. Anyway, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow. I will be back on tomorrow. And not tomorrow. I'll be back on later on this evening at 8, and then that will be it, guys. And I will bid you good. I'll bid you good morning, but I'll be back later, shortly.